Thank you. So I'm gonna, first of all, thank you for being here. And what I'm gonna do is actually show you how it's being deployed. There's a lot of questions on ROI, how are hotels actually using some of this. So we are actively deploying in a lot of places, and I'll give you some examples.
Clicker.
All right, and I actually wanted to be very daring and do a demo, but I was advised against it, so I have slides. I'll just take first 2 minutes to talk about Milestone, who we are. We started in '97. We're working with over 2,000 customers. Our customers, you can't rig this data. This is customers rating our platform, and they're putting us on the top right. So basically, they're looking at our content management and content marketing platform. What's in our platform? It's a digital experience platform, but the biggest differentiation versus a lot of other places is that we bake in SEO technology into our platform. So the whole focus is how do people find you, right? That question came up many times this morning, and how are people going to find you in future when AI comes around? So we spend a lot of time. A lot of these platforms are future-proof. They actually have all the SEO technology baked in terms of content management system, in terms of the AI stuff that we're working on, AI content platform, which I'm going to show you, as well as very critical if you're really interested in how to make sure that ChatGPT and Llama and Google indexes your content, you got to get the schema platform, or you got to get the schemas in your site, whether you use a platform or you do it yourself. So we'll talk a little bit more. We work with pretty much most of the hotel chains, over 1,500, 7,000 hotels. And we do work outside of hospitality. Hospitality is about 75%, and then we work with another 25-30% other segments. All right, let's talk about AI. So multiple use cases. We're deploying AI across multiple areas. The two most prominent ones is content creation. There is a definite ROI. The first day you deploy it, you will double your productivity. So 50% gain, 60% gain. So there is a definite ROI there. The second one is, was talked a lot about that in the brand panel. It's basically AI agents. You're planning itineraries, chat agents, booking, personalization. So there's a whole bunch of stuff here. We're also using AI internally for actually extracting data insights. So we have a lot of data, and we're using that for data insights, for forecasting. So this is a very big one. There's a lot of noise here, so this is a very difficult one. But we're getting to 60% accuracy. So our models are predicting 60% of the times they're predicting what a human would predict. So getting pretty good there. And then this is the holy grail where you actually draw a picture, you create a Figma design, and it'll actually create a website for you within 30 seconds. So there is no coding, no nothing. So this is, again, very close to being real. All right, so that's where we are doing. I'm going to only talk about 2 or 3 use cases today, depending on time, not cover everything. The one which is very deployed, we launched this platform 4.5 months ago. We have 150 customers on it, about 250 hotels. The biggest thing that I've found in this is the usage. People are actually using it a lot. They're creating a lot of content, which is fantastic. So it tells you that it actually works. So we're getting people to generate content. And you have different content format types. And the biggest thing that we've done is that you can actually put in your brand voice, you can put in your brand tone, you can define the personas. And the content which is getting created from scratch, you cannot use as is. So that's why your productivity doubles. It doesn't become 100%. You can't get rid of the content writer. You're actually getting 60% of the way there. But that's huge, right? If you think of, we work with some brands which have 20 people in their content team, 15 people on their content team. Imagine doubling the productivity. And we're seeing a lot of gain. Now, the biggest use case of this, where the productivity gain is massive, is this is creating content from scratch. right? But what site migrations is a big project, right? Especially if you're a large brand. I just came from Dallas. We're talking to a brand which has 36 sites, large enterprise sites. They're in a brand migration, CMS migration process. Their timeline would shrink from 1.5 years to 6 months. Because what you do is on the left side, you feed the model the content that's on the existing site, and then you tell it to generate content in the new model, new template, and it's actually creating perfect content, no human intervention needed, because you're feeding it your data, right? And I think Mob.ai talked about that. When you're feeding it your data, the quality of response that you're getting is almost perfect, right? So this is almost like discovery of printing press. I can guarantee you 3 to 5 years from now, we'll be sitting in a room and saying, people actually used to write content. I almost guarantee you. So the scale or the impact of this is very, very high. We're talking, somebody said industrial revolution. I think it's bigger than industrial revolution. It's actually discovery. It's really printing press where information started becoming available, right? Another big thing that we're doing, so that was SEP standalone. Now what we're doing is we're working with brands to integrate this into their content management system workflow. So you can actually create content and publish it directly on your website, right? So think of your offers, think of all your marketing material. You can actually double it. And we are integrating this into our content management system. So theoretically, I can actually create a new site and create content within 30 minutes, right? Click, 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 click. It doesn't get you 100% of the way there, but it'll get you 60% of the way there, which is fantastic, right? We publish a lot of focus on hospitality because a lot of users are hotels. So we published a lot of use cases. You can download that from the QR code here if you want to do that. There is a myth there, which I think is actually spread by, that's why sometimes agencies get bad name. It's a myth spread by, I think it's agencies, I don't know who spread it, that Google doesn't index AI content. That's total crap, okay? We're getting such high indexing. Google doesn't index crappy content, right? So you gotta create good content. And as long as you're creating good content, whether it's Microsoft Bing or it's Google, they will index your content. And they will consume it, and you're gonna get a lot of traction out of that. So we're, like I said, we have a lot of people generating content. We're getting a lot, there is no penalty. You gotta generate good quality content, and as long as you're doing that, you're getting a very good pickup on search engines. It's like just a human generating the content. Google doesn't care who's writing the content. All they care for is whether the content is good quality or not. All right, I'll switch. So that is on the content creation. Now let me tell you on the agent sites, travel planning. So the use cases, we've talked about the use case, right? Itinerary planning, travel planning, customized itineraries, things to do, nearby events, amenities. So those are all the use cases that were eventually booking. So you'd be able to tell the agent to book the room. So I'll show you one practical example that I can't tell you all the details, but I'll show you a practical example that's going to roll out in the next few months. But what this does is, it's an itinerary generator. So what we're able to do is tell it that, okay, take the content from these 3 sites. These 3 sites exist, so we're not doing anything special. We're just saying, hey, these are the 3 sites. As long as you've done a good job of creating these 3 sites, it's going to pick up this content. And then I'm saying, create an itinerary for me for 3 days, right? Preferred, so we've got a few variables, right? How many days, how many seasons, which season, what type of trip. So you just say 3 days, summer, luxury travelers, golfing, right? That's all I've done. And it gives you a perfect itinerary. The customer didn't change a single line, right? So they didn't even change one line because it's taking your content. As long as you've done a good job of creating your own content, it's gonna actually generate material which is perfect for. So whenever you're actually training the model on your content, what we found is the quality of output is really, really high and very efficient. Now, let me tell you where the future is headed, what we are going to launch in the next 6 to 12 months. I get this itinerary. I can put in, as a hotelier, I can put in what I want to sell, right? So I can actually skew the itinerary to my biggest profit centers, or whether I want to sell jet skis or I want to sell boating or whatever else I want to push. And then imagine being able to click a button at the bottom saying, book this. All of it booked, everything booked together. So if you think of how powerful that is, I got the consumer engaged very deeply into my content. I gave them an itinerary, which is good for the consumer. It has to be good for the customer, right? Otherwise, you're just wasting time. But it's also good for me because I put in the businesses that I want to sell, right? As a CEO, I have certain businesses, certain goals. I want to sell more of my golf thing or this, and I put those, and then all I do is at the bottom book this itinerary. And it just books every single interface. So that is where the future, and it's not very far out. So if anybody tells you that that thing is 5 years out, it's wrong. It's in the next imminent 12 months. All right. Somebody asked this morning, how do I make sure that with search changing, how do I make sure? So this is all what I talked about was digital experience, right? What people do when they come to your site, what happens? How do they get to my site, or how do they get to know me in the new world of AI? So just remember, AI engines also need content. So nothing has changed, right? I mean, Google search engine, Google actually took your content and presented it. AI engines need the same thing. They're not just going to come up with data on their own, right? If I'm asking AI engine that, hey, I love golfing, I want a summer, I'm a luxury traveler, they're going to take that data and compare it to something in their system. And that something in their system has to come from you, the guys who own the assets. So nothing has changed. It's just different. It's different from before. So that is your SEO for the next 2-3 years, right? And there are things that you can do for that. I've listed this here. I don't have enough time to talk through each of these, but there's a few things that you should do in your system. And as long as you do that, focus on getting the structure right so that the AI crawlers can actually index your content and read your content. You should be in very good shape for that. All right. The other thing is the same along the discovery line. So we focus on two things. How do we get people to your site or to your business, and then what do we do with them once they're on your site, right? So this is, again, the second part. Image is very big. Images are going to get even bigger going forward. And what we do here is we are actually bringing how Google looks at your images. We're bringing that into our platform. So we're actually ranking and rating, showing you the ranking and rating of the images the way Google actually ranks and rates them. So you're able to exactly see how you're going to be inside of Google's ecosystem. And if you're broken, you can't ask Google to change their AI algorithm. You just work around their AI algorithm. So that's the other thing that I'm doing. And it has very good results. You can see all these. If you do this exercise, you're going to continue to see a lift in your performance. So it's all measurable. It's all ROI driven. So anybody who says Gen AI doesn't have ROI, it's wrong. It's all there. And it's actually being used, right? It's not directly, like you can't say that I used Gen AI and did this, but this is all Gen AI. All right. So that's my last slide. I don't know if we are out of time or I can take questions.
I think we are, but you'll be here.
I'll be here. So, yeah, I can take questions then. All right. Thank you, everyone.